The Outer Worlds is an enthralling galactic adventure where you wander from planet to planet in search of answers, money, and a way to thaw out a giant spaceship full of your peers frozen in hypersleep. Along the way, you'll encounter sketchy characters, giant alien bugs, and dialogue trees full of wildly different choices that range from silly to serious. Before you kick it into Lightspeed, we've got 7 helpful tips to keep in mind. First things first, this is going to sound super obvious, but just take all of the quests you come across. You'll get a ton of experience for it, and best of all, you'll earn money in return. The money can be used for obvious reasons, like buying stuff from vendors, but most importantly, it will allow you to upgrade gear along the way and even fix damaged weapons and armor too. Plus, you're bound to pick up a sweet weapon along the journey. You may even find a companion or two as well. Companions can be let go if you want to try seeing other people.
Well, try my best.
It's worth pouring points into Persuade, Lie, and Intimidate skills earlier on. This will help in situations that don't necessarily involve an inevitable firefight. Maybe you want to find out more about a companion, or sweet talk a black market vendor into hooking you up with some needed information. Either way, it's always a good idea to at least consider the potential for slipping out of a tough spot or pressing a character who might just be lying to your face. Since half the game is spent talking to characters and choosing from options that can help progress the story, you'll kick yourself for not spending the time to have the right level of lie, for example, to bluff, or persuade when you want to reason with someone. As you continue taking quests, you'll see your menu fill up with the objectives to complete. Talk to everyone. When you walk up to characters to initiate a conversation in the wild or at a town, there will sometimes be random scripted events, like someone running out of a building to tell you of a dead body they found inside. Try walking up to characters to initiate a conversation. If you activate an interaction with them that cuts to a close-up, chances are that's a conversation you'll want to pay attention to. Maybe they'll give you a lead on an optional objective or give you an entirely new side quest to complete. Either way, once you've got a nice amount on your plate, focus on that and save the main mission for last. If you progress in the main story too soon, you might lock yourself out of optional objectives for certain side quests. If the mission you've cleared significantly changes the town's situation, some things might just not be available anymore. When organizing my own personal quest checklist, I take note of the main mission and organize the quest by location, so I can make sure I get everything done. Then I tackle the main story objective and head off on the Unreliable to another planet to continue my journey. Pay attention to your surroundings. There is a ton of free stuff just lying around that you can easily scoop up, assuming it's not in town or attached to a particular building inhabited by folks. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but just be sure they're not within view when you do it, or they'll want a word and it can negatively impact your reputation with certain factions. The good news is that there's still plenty of stuff to pick up like bits, weapon attachments, new weapons, and healing items. The bad news is, if you don't pay attention to how much you're carrying, you'll become over-encumbered and won't be able to move as well. You won't be able to sprint, and you'll move at a snail's pace. So it's a good idea to mark things as junk as you go, break down weapons when you no longer need them for materials, and sell your junk for easy money. Unless you want to become over-encumbered in the middle of a firefight, hey, live your truth. Look after your companions. They'll watch your back in the heat of combat and even provide some helpful dialogue in the middle of interactions. Equipping your companions early on with the ability to receive bonus XP for kills they get is a great way to get your character in good shape quickly with some decent perks. It's also helpful to upgrade their gear along with yours as you all gain experience. Gaining a level is noted by a helpful star above their names in the menus, so be sure to swap out their weapons and armor to help them contribute more during a fight. You'll also be able to upgrade their perks, so be mindful of the kind of balance you want to strike with characters and what strengths they can add to the mix. For example, Nyoka, one of my faves, can boost your Lie skill up 10 points, and Parvati can give your engineering skill an additional 10 points. It's good to predict what kind of things you'll need in advance and plan out your crew accordingly. Don't forget about the orders you can give in a scrap too. The bottom left of the screen has a set of icons that indicate if you want companions to push forward or hang back. You'll also have access to their special abilities, which, once unleashed, can be super effective for doling out a ton of damage in one go, so use them wisely. This one's a little more specific, but trust me, it'll come in handy. Before you venture off to Monarch, be sure to scoop up the Shrink Ray from Phineas's lab. There is a particular species of alien that looks like it came straight out of Starship Troopers, meaning they're nasty and especially giant scorpion-like baddies that will mess you up. I was lucky enough the first time around to find a gun specifically made to fire ammo with corrosion damage that they're weak to, but I still had to use a lot of resources. The shrink ray will make them much smaller and easier to deal with if you're rolling with 2 companions. Learn from my mistakes. Save your ammo. If you're having a rough go at it, the game will present you with flaws. Flaws give you a permanent hit on certain stats for the rest of the game in exchange for a perk point. Pay extra close attention to what is being offered up each time. If it's going to impact a skill that you never really had much interest in investing in, then sure, consider it. For example, I might want to consider this flaw, which gives me a permanent hit to my ranged weapon handling in exchange for a chance at a new perk, if I prefer fighting up close and won't mind the lack of damage I can do with a scoped hunting rifle. Also be sure to remember that you'll get a perk point every 2 levels. In my case, I've been very selective about flaws and have only really considered them once or twice in my entire playthrough so far, but your mileage may vary. That gets you well on your way as you venture off to dangerous planets and deal with suspect individuals. Hopefully this video was helpful, but if you want more in-depth advice, head over to Kotaku.com for Gita's helpful and extensive list of tips. Grab a Zero G Brew by Spacer's Choice and get to work, Captain.
Zero G Brew, an ale that's good for what ails you.